Have you ever wondered why some people rise so fast, so effortlessly, so quietly, that by the time the world notices them, it's already too late to catch up? It's not luck. It's not connections. It's not even talent. It's something far more intimidating. They built themselves in silence. They mastered discipline like a weapon. They moved with a level of focus so sharp it made ordinary people uncomfortable. They became dangerously successful, the kind of success that doesn't shout. It shakes the room simply by entering it. And here's the truth nobody says out loud. You can become that person too. All it takes is the right mindset, the right habits, and the courage to outgrow the version of yourself that's been holding you back. Welcome to How to Become Dangerously Successful. This is not just another motivational guide. This is a blueprint for transformation, a step-by-step journey into becoming the version of yourself you've always felt inside, but never fully unleashed. In this audiobook, you'll learn how disciplined people think, how high performers build daily momentum, how to eliminate distractions without relying on motivation, how to create atomic habits that reshape your identity, how to operate in silence and let your results speak loudly, how to build resilience so strong that setbacks don't break you, they sharpen you. Dangerous success isn't about overpowering others. It's about becoming so focused, so consistent, so aligned with your goals, that nothing can pull you off your path. This is the version of you that wakes up hungry, the version that doesn't wait for permission, the version that commands respect without asking for it. If you're ready to step into that identity, if you're ready to become someone even you can be proud of, then let's begin. Chapter 1. The shift that changes everything. Every journey toward extraordinary success begins with one defining moment. A moment where something inside you snaps, breaks, realigns, or awakens. Most people wait their entire lives for that moment. They think it comes from a life crisis, a big opportunity, or a dramatic event. But the truth is far more simple. Dangerous success begins the day you stop negotiating with your potential. It begins the moment you look at your life, your habits, your excuses, your patterns, and finally admit that you've been living at a fraction of what you're capable of. This realization hits differently. It's not dramatic. It's not loud. It's not emotional. It's a quiet, heavy clarity. A moment where you realize you've been choosing comfort over growth. You've been waiting instead of building. You've been reacting instead of leading. You've been dreaming instead of executing. And once you see that, you can't unsee it. This is the shift that separates average effort from unstoppable ambition. The day you turn pro, there's a moment in every high performer's life where they cross an invisible line. On one side of that line are the habits of an amateur, doing things only when they feel like it, needing motivation to move, avoiding discomfort, complaining about circumstances, blaming others, quitting when it gets boring. On the other side is the mindset of a professional, someone who shows up no matter what. Dangerously successful people don't wait for inspiration. They operate on systems, not feelings. If something needs to be done, it gets done. If a habit needs to be built, they build it. If a weakness needs to be fixed, they attack it. They don't rely on mood. They rely on discipline. That is the defining shift. Why most people never reach this level? Because this version of you requires sacrifice. Not dramatic sacrifice, but consistent sacrifice. The sacrifice of comfort, ease, distractions, bad habits, popular opinions, temporary pleasures. The old identity that kept you small. It requires waking up earlier than your excuses, working harder than your doubts, and staying focused longer than your insecurities can distract you. Most people aren't willing to make that trade. They want success without discomfort, progress without discipline, results without repetition. But the people who become dangerously successful understand a hard truth. Life pays you exactly what you demand of it, not what you wish for. And they demand more. Your inner world shapes your outer outcome. before your results change. Your mindset must evolve before your habits change. Your identity must shift before the world sees your greatness. You must first accept it quietly within yourself. This chapter marks the beginning of that transformation. This is where you recognize that your limits are not real, they are learned. Your excuses are not truths, they are habits. Your potential is not hidden, it is unused. Dangerous success is built from the inside out. Once your internal standards rise, your external results must follow. It's not magic, it's mathematics. Your new standard starts today. At this point, you're not just listening, you're choosing. Choosing to break patterns that no longer serve you. Choosing to confront habits that slow you down. Choosing to rise into the version of yourself that's been waiting patiently. Chapter 1 is the doorway. But what comes next is the construction of a new identity. One built on discipline, clarity, resilience, and laser-sharp focus. From here on, your life no longer grows by accident. It grows by design. Welcome to the new you. Welcome to the beginning of dangerous success. Chapter 2, the discipline that rewires your destiny. If Chapter 1 was about awakening the truth inside you, Chapter 2 is about proving it through your actions. Because here's the reality. Success is not something you chase. It's something you attract by becoming the person who deserves it. And the way you become that person, the way you transform your identity, is through discipline, not motivation, not hype, not emotion. Discipline. The real meaning of discipline. It's not what you think. Most people think discipline means forcing yourself to do things you hate. But real discipline is the opposite. Discipline is self-respect in action. It's you telling yourself, I am worthy of the life I want, and I will act like it. It's building habits that serve your future, not your impulses. It's choosing the long-term game over the short-term hit. It's deciding who you want to become, and then doing what that version of you would do. Discipline is identity expressed daily. Why discipline is the dangerous advantage. People don't lose in life because they're not smart enough, or connected enough, or lucky enough. They lose because they can't control themselves. They lose to their cravings, their distractions, their laziness, their moods, their excuses, their impulses. The world is full of talented people who never made it. But the world has never defeated a disciplined person. Because discipline makes you stronger than your weaknesses, wiser than your emotions, more consistent than your doubts, more focused than your fears. Discipline is what makes you dangerous. Not because you overpower others, but because you overpower your old self. The 21-day threshold. There's something powerful that begins to happen after about 3 weeks of discipline. Your brain starts rewiring. Your standards start rising. Your identity starts shifting. At first, discipline feels like a battle. You're fighting your old habits, your old excuses, your old identity. But as the days stack up, something changes. What used to feel difficult becomes normal. What used to feel impossible becomes routine. Consistency becomes your default. Excuses become uncomfortable. And laziness becomes foreign. This is the beginning of dangerous success, when discipline stops being effort and becomes identity. The hidden power of microdiscipline. Here's the secret nobody teaches. It's not the big dramatic changes that reshape your future. It's the small, quiet disciplines repeated every day. Waking up when you said you would. Doing the task even when you don't feel like it. Finishing what you start. Keeping promises to yourself. Not quitting when it gets boring. Not negotiating with your goals. These tiny wins build something powerful. Self-trust. And once you trust yourself, the world can no longer stop you. Because a disciplined person doesn't need permission, doesn't need applause, doesn't need motivation. A disciplined person is self-powered. The enemy of discipline, comfort. Comfort is the silent killer. It looks harmless. It feels safe. It pretends to be rest. But comfort steals your ambition, your hunger, your drive. your potential, your urgency. Comfort is the slow death of greatness. And the people who become dangerously successful all share one trait. They refuse to live inside the cage of comfort. They choose growth over ease, challenge over comfort, action over talking, execution over dreaming. Because they understand a truth most people never learn. Comfort gives you pleasure today. Discipline gives you power forever. Turning discipline into a lifestyle. Discipline isn't a moment. It's a system, and you build that system through routines, structure, clarity, accountability, self-respect, high standards. You don't wait to feel ready. You operate from commitment. You set the standard. You follow the standard. You raise the standard daily. This is where the transformation becomes permanent. You are becoming someone new. You may not see the results yet. You may not feel different yet. But every disciplined choice is shifting something inside you. Your future is being rewritten. Your limits are being erased. Your identity is evolving. This is the stage where most people quit. But this is also the stage where extraordinary people are made. The disciplined version of you, the dangerous version, is coming alive. Chapter 3. The mindset that makes you unstoppable. By now, you've tasted the truth. Discipline is the beginning. But mindset, the right mindset, is the engine that keeps you moving forward long after others quit. Discipline builds your habits. Mindset builds your identity. And once your mindset shifts, your entire life shifts with it. The most dangerous thing you can develop, a growth identity. Most people live inside a fixed mindset without even knowing it. They believe, this is just how I am. I'm not the type of person who can do that. I'll never be as good as them. I don't have the talent. This type of thinking is a prison. A growth identity is the opposite. It says, I can learn anything. I can become anyone. Everything is a skill. Every setback is a lesson. Nothing about me is permanent except my ambition. The moment you adopt a growth identity, you become unstoppable. Because the only thing that can limit you is you. The ruthlessness of self-honesty. There's a painful truth high achievers accept. You can't change what you refuse to confront. Most people lie to themselves. I'm trying. I'm doing my best. I'll start tomorrow. I'm overwhelmed. No, you're negotiating with your potential. You're choosing comfort over commitment, noise over clarity, excuses over execution. Self-honesty is brutal, but it is the upgrade your mind needs. It forces you to look at your habits, weaknesses, distractions, priorities, effort, standards. And the moment you commit to radical honesty, your results explode. You stop wasting time. You stop tolerating nonsense. You stop repeating mistakes. You stop settling. You grow because truth forces growth, replacing the victim mindset with the owner mindset. The victim mindset says, life happens to me. The owner mindset says, life responds to me. Victims complain, blame, justify, and wait. Owners analyze, adjust, execute, and improve. Victims rely on external motivation. Owners rely on internal standards. Victims look for help. Owners look for solutions. The difference between a victim and an owner has nothing to do with circumstances. It's about perspective. Two people can face the same difficulty. One collapses. One grows. Why? Because one sees obstacles as excuses. The other sees obstacles as training. The owner mindset is what makes people dangerous. It gives you power over your future, your habits, your energy, your direction, your work ethic, your outcomes. When you take ownership, you stop waiting for life to change, and you start changing it yourself. The no-option mentality. There's a mental switch that turns you into a different kind of human, removing the option to quit. When something becomes optional, it becomes negotiable. When something becomes negotiable, it becomes weak. But when something becomes non-negotiable, your brain adapts. You get resourceful. You get creative. You get resilient. A no-option mindset removes fear, hesitation, excuses, procrastination. It forces your mind to find a way instead of an escape. People who win big in life are not the smartest or most talented. They simply remove quitting as an option. And because of that, success becomes inevitable. Training your mind for pressure. Pressure exposes who you are. Most people crumble under stress because their mindset is fragile. They avoid struggle instead of learning from it. You become mentally unbreakable by doing hard things, doing uncomfortable things, doing disciplined things, repeating them daily. Every time you face discomfort, your tolerance expands. Every time you overcome resistance, your confidence multiplies. Every time you push through difficulty, your mind becomes sharper. Pressure is not your enemy. Pressure is your teacher. Pressure is your upgrade. Discipline builds your habits. Mindset builds your identity. Pressure builds your power. You are becoming someone the old you could never handle. Chapter 3 is where you evolve mentally. Not just in habits, but in the way you think, react, and carry yourself. You're no longer the person who needs motivation. You're becoming the person who creates results. Your mentality is shifting from, I hope this works, to, I will make this work. This is the mindset that creates dangerous success. You've built discipline. You've upgraded your mind. Chapter 4, the momentum shift, when discipline turns into power. There is a point in every transformation where the internal battle starts to fade, and momentum begins to take over. This is the stage most people never reach, because they quit long before they ever feel it. But once you arrive here, everything changes. Your energy, your confidence, your clarity, your pace, your entire identity. This is the chapter where discipline stops feeling like effort and starts feeling like power. The turning point, when small wins start stacking. At first, discipline feels slow. You do the right things, but it feels like nothing is happening. No one notices. Nothing looks different. Your results seem invisible. But what you don't realize is this. Momentum builds in silence. Every early morning, every hard choice, every no to temptation, every uncomfortable action, every day you show up even when you don't want to, those decisions compound. And suddenly, the shift happens. You wake up one morning, and something feels different. You feel stronger. Your mind feels clearer. Your confidence feels real. Your standards feel higher. Momentum has arrived. And when it does, it becomes your greatest advantage. The momentum loop, the cycle that makes you unstoppable. Momentum isn't luck. Momentum is a cycle. Once you understand it, you can recreate it anytime. Here's how the loop works. 1. You start taking action, even small ones. Tiny steps, done consistently, create early wins. 2. Early wins build confidence. Confidence pushes you to aim higher. 3. Higher goals create more action. You start doing more because you believe more. 4. More action creates stronger results. People start noticing. Opportunities appear. 5. Stronger results reinforce your identity. You start becoming the person you always wanted to be. And identity fuels action all over again. This is why disciplined people win. Not because they're special, but because they stay long enough to activate momentum. Your new identity starts driving your behavior. There comes a moment when your habits stop feeling forced. Instead of saying, I need to do this, you start thinking, this is just who I am now. This is where real transformation becomes permanent. You're not fighting yourself anymore. You're not negotiating anymore. You're not relying on motivation anymore. Your identity is in control. You become the person who trains even when tired. The person who studies while others scroll. The person who protects their time. The person who wins consistently. The person who doesn't quit. The person who expects excellence from themselves. This identity shift is what separates the average from the unstoppable. Once your identity aligns with your goals, the world has no choice but to respond. When the world starts to notice, At this point in the journey, something interesting happens. People begin to sense your change. They see the sharpness in your eyes. They hear the certainty in your voice. They notice the seriousness in your actions. They feel the confidence you now carry effortlessly. Some will be inspired. Some will be confused. Some will feel threatened. Some will try to pull you back. But most importantly, you'll realize you've outgrown your old life. Your priorities are different. Your boundaries are stronger. Your purpose is clearer. Your standards are higher. This is momentum revealing your evolution. The snowball effect. Everything gets easier and faster. Momentum creates speed. What used to take you hours now takes minutes. Days now takes hours. Weeks now takes days. Tasks that once felt heavy now feel light. Habits that once felt impossible now feel automatic. Actions that once felt intimidating now feel natural. Your brain adapts. Your body adapts. Your energy adapts. Your environment adapts. You're no longer pushing. You're gliding. And this is the stage where most breakthroughs happen. Protecting your momentum, the unspoken rule. Momentum is powerful, but it is fragile. One bad day won't kill it, but negligence will. Momentum dies when you break your consistency often. Let your emotions control your actions. Allow distractions to creep back in. Relax because things are going well. Lower your standards because life feels easy. You protect momentum by remembering. Ease is earned, but discipline must remain. Momentum is your reward. Discipline is the price. Your old life cannot compete with your new forward motion. By chapter 4, you're no longer who you were 21 days ago. You're sharper, faster, clearer, more disciplined, more focused, more aligned, more confident, and you're only getting started. Momentum is the doorway to the next stage. The stage where opportunity, clarity, and self-belief explode. Chapter 5, the environment shift, when discipline reshapes your world. By the time you reach day 21 of pure discipline, something profound happens. Not just inside you, but around you. Most people think transformation is only internal. But real discipline doesn't stay trapped in your mind or body. It begins to leak into your environment, influence your surroundings, and redesign your entire world without you even trying. This chapter is where you realize your environment is either your engine or your enemy. And after 21 days of consistent discipline, your environment cannot stay the same. Fire the ripple effect. Your actions start shaping everything around you. When you change consistently for 3 weeks straight, the people around you feel it. Your habits shift. Your energy shifts. Your priorities shift. Your boundaries shift. Your standards shift. And the world responds. Some people lean in. Some people pull away. Some quietly study you. Some get inspired. Some get insecure. But one thing is certain. Your disciplined lifestyle forces your environment to recalibrate. You're no longer matching the world around you. The world is now reacting to you. Fire the energy shift. You stop tolerating anything that pulls you back. When discipline becomes your new baseline, you start noticing things you used to ignore. Draining conversations, lazy routines, empty entertainment, people who talk but don't act, negativity disguised as jokes, habits that waste time, environments that encourage comfort over growth. It's like your eyes adjust to a higher level of clarity. You begin cutting away everything that doesn't match who you are becoming. And here's the powerful part. It doesn't even feel difficult anymore. You're not forcing yourself out of old patterns. Your standards naturally reject them. This is what real discipline does. It doesn't only create a new you, it destroys the version of you that tolerated less than you deserved. Fire the people shift. Your circle starts changing without you trying. This is one of the most surprising effects of long-term discipline. Your circle transforms, not because you make a dramatic announcement, not because you confront anyone, not because you cut people off out of emotion. It happens silently. Those who are serious will align with you. They'll support you, encourage you, grow with you. Those who live in excuses will drift away, not out of conflict, but out of incompatibility. Discipline doesn't just change your habits. It changes your frequency. You stop resonating with people who live in avoidance, and you begin attracting those who value growth, action, and self-respect. This is the moment you realize you don't lose friends, you lose anchors, and you gain people who push you forward. Fire the lifestyle shift. Your daily surroundings evolve. Look around your environment after 21 days of discipline. Your room is cleaner. Your desk is organized. Your schedule is clearer. Your phone is less distracting. Your habits are intentional. Your mornings are structured. Your food is simpler and healthier. Your time is guarded like treasure. This didn't happen overnight. It happened because your internal world began rewriting your external world. You become more aware of everything: where your time goes, who you allow into your mental space, what you consume, what you tolerate, what drains you, what energizes you. The disciplined version of you demands alignment, and your environment responds. This is where your life stops being chaotic and starts becoming designed. Fire the boundary shift. You no longer apologize for protecting your growth. One of the most powerful changes after 21 days is the rise of unshakable boundaries. You say no with calm confidence. You walk away from drama. You avoid distractions. You reject laziness. You protect your peace like it's currency, because it is. Before, you used to feel guilty for putting yourself first. Now you feel responsible, because you understand. Discipline is fragile, and you must guard it. Your old life will always try to pull you back, but your new standards won't allow it. This is when people around you might say, "You've changed. You're different. You're distant. You're too focused. You're too serious." And you'll finally understand the truth. They were comfortable with you staying small, not with you growing big. Fired, the identity shift becomes visible to everyone. At this stage, the transformation is no longer internal. It's visible in your posture, your behavior, your energy, your presence. People can't explain it, but they can feel it. You're sharper. You're calmer. You're more intentional. You're more disciplined. You're more powerful. Your environment mirrors your evolution. You no longer adapt to your surroundings. Your surroundings adapt to you. This is one of the clearest signs that your discipline has become real. Chapter 6. The Power of Controlled Chaos. Turning pressure into fuel. There comes a point on the path to dangerous success where everything feels like it's happening at once. Opportunities arrive in clusters. Responsibilities multiply. People demand more of you. Deadlines tighten. Noise rises. And suddenly, you stand in the center of a storm you created. Most people retreat. They see chaos as a sign to stop, slow down, or escape. But the truth is different. Every highly successful person you admire learned how to operate inside chaos, without letting chaos operate them. This chapter is about mastering that art. The myth of perfect conditions. Many people delay action because they are waiting for ideal circumstances. A quieter schedule, more money, more clarity, the right moment. But dangerous success is built on a different rule. You move even when things are messy. You build even when the foundation isn't perfect. You strike even while you're still sharpening the blade. Perfect conditions are a luxury. Pressure is the real training ground. Why pressure creates high performers? Pressure does not break you. It reveals what you've been training. When you're under pressure, your instincts sharpen. Your priorities clarify. Your creativity expands. Your speed increases. Your tolerance for discomfort grows. If you learn to function in that state, you become unstoppable in normal situations. Think of it like an athlete practicing with weighted gear. When the weights come off, performance skyrockets. High performers don't hope for less pressure. They build systems to carry more. Building your controlled chaos system. Dangerous success is not about drowning in stress. It's about controlling the chaos instead of letting it control you. Here's how individuals at the top do it. 1. They prioritize with ruthlessness. Every day, they identify the one or two actions that move the needle the most. Everything else gets minimized, delegated, or deleted. Success requires brutal clarity, not endless hustle. 2. They don't fight the fire, they direct it. When things heat up, they don't panic. They shift focus to what they can control. Effort, attitude, execution, speed, communication. Chaos becomes a resource, not an enemy. 3. They create micro-routines inside the madness. Even in chaotic seasons, they keep small non-negotiables. A morning reset, a 5-minute planning session, a quick environment check, a nightly brain dump. These tiny anchors prevent overwhelm and keep the mind clear. 4. They stay adaptable. Dangerous success requires flexibility. If a plan breaks, they rebuild. If a door closes, they pivot. If the environment shifts, they shift faster. Adaptability is the true proof of intelligence. Leveraging emotional control. In chaos, emotions can either be fuel or poison. People who level up learn to stay calm when others panic. Think instead of react. Speak with intention, not frustration. Use stress as momentum, not weight. This calmness under pressure is what separates future leaders from future quitters. Understanding the rhythm of growth. Chaotic periods are not signs that something is wrong. They are signs that you are expanding. Every leveling up stage looks messy from the inside. New ideas outnumber your time. New tasks outnumber your energy. New connections outnumber your capacity. Growth feels like chaos until you outgrow it. The mindset shift that changes everything. Instead of saying, "I'm overwhelmed," say, "I'm being stretched to match the size of the success I'm building." Instead of thinking, "This is too much," think, "This is preparing me for more than I asked for." When you shift how you interpret pressure, you shift how you perform under it, operating at a higher level. Once you learn to manage chaos with calm confidence, something powerful happens. You become someone who thrives in situations that break average people. You move faster. You think sharper. You handle more responsibility with less emotional friction. You become reliable under pressure, and that's a rare, highly valuable trait. And that is when success stops being accidental and becomes inevitable. Chapter 7. The Magnetic Momentum Switch. How to make success chase you. There's a moment in every transformation where the effort you've been pouring in suddenly flips. At first, you've been chasing progress. You've been pushing discipline, forcing consistency, dragging yourself through the process. But something shifts. Your habits stop feeling heavy. Your identity stops resisting. Your actions begin to compound. And suddenly, success starts moving toward you instead of away from you. This is the magnetic momentum switch. This chapter is about how that switch works and how to activate it. The hidden truth about momentum. Most people misunderstand momentum. They think it's an emotional wave, motivation, hype, inspiration. But real momentum is not emotional. Real momentum is behavioral. It is built slowly, often silently, through repeated actions that eventually create their own forward force. You don't feel the moment momentum begins. You only notice it when everything starts getting easier. Tasks that used to drain you feel natural. Habits that felt forced now feel automatic. Goals that looked impossible now look small. Your confidence grows without needing external validation. Your discipline transforms into identity. Momentum is discipline, repeated long enough to become effortless. Why most people never reach this point. The magnetic momentum switch doesn't appear early. It appears after the frustration phase, after the doubt phase, and after the "I'm tired of this" phase. Most people quit right before the switch activates because they misinterpret the difficulty as failure. But difficulty is not a sign to stop. Difficulty is the final barrier before breakthrough. Every major leveling up phase follows this pattern. excitement, resistance, fatigue, doubt, consistency anyway, momentum, mastery. You're always closer to the breakthrough than you think. The identity lock-in. Momentum becomes magnetic when the action stops being something you do and becomes part of who you are. For example, you go from, I'm trying to wake up early, to I'm a morning person. You go from, I'm forcing myself to eat better, to I'm someone who takes care of my body. You go from, I'm trying to focus, to I'm a focused person. Identity is the strongest force in human behavior. When your identity matches your goals, your effort drops dramatically, but your results multiply. The magnetic momentum switch happens the moment your identity and your discipline align. The role of consistency in creating pull instead of push. At first, you push everything. You push yourself to stay disciplined. You push yourself to show up. You push your habits forward. But with enough consistency, the physics reverses. Momentum begins to pull you. Your habits feel unfinished if you skip them. Your body wants the routine. Your mind is wired for progress. Your environment aligns itself naturally. Your schedule organizes itself around your priorities. This pull effect is what makes successful people look effortless. It's not talent. It's not luck. It is the result of pushing long enough for momentum to take over. How to activate the magnetic momentum switch. There are 4 internal triggers that activate momentum. These are the same triggers elite performers use, whether they realize it or not. 1. Repetition without negotiation. Every time you negotiate with yourself, you slow momentum. Momentum requires non-negotiable actions, even when you're tired, busy, or uninspired. 2. Simplicity of routine. Complex routines collapse under pressure. Simple routines survive and compound. 3. Emotional neutrality. High performers don't wait to feel like it. They treat action as neutral, neither good nor bad, just required. 4. Reduction of distractions. Momentum hates friction. Remove distractions, and speed increases instantly. What momentum looks like in real life. When a switch flips, you'll notice the world responding differently. People start taking you seriously. Opportunities find you instead of you chasing them. Your confidence becomes visible without you trying. Your work ethic becomes your reputation. Your results begin multiplying on their own. Momentum creates visibility. Visibility creates respect. Respect creates opportunity. Opportunity creates more momentum. Success becomes a cycle instead of a struggle. You become unrecognizable. The most powerful part of the magnetic momentum switch is how it changes you. You begin acting like a person with authority over your own life. Your discipline no longer wobbles. Your ambition no longer feels unrealistic. Your past no longer feels relevant. Your future no longer feels optional. You become someone others admire, but you're too focused to notice. You stop operating from desperation and start operating for direction. And in that moment, you become dangerously successful. Chapter 8. The Power of Strategic Pressure. Turning stress into a success multiplier. Most people crumble under pressure. They panic. They freeze. They lose clarity, confidence, and control. But here's the secret the most dangerously successful people know. Pressure is not your enemy. Uncontrolled pressure is. When you learn to harness pressure, direct it, shape it, and channel it, you turn it into one of the most powerful accelerators of success you will ever experience. This chapter is about transforming pressure from something that crushes you into something that sharpens you. Why pressure feels overwhelming for most people. Pressure is uncomfortable because it exposes the truth about your abilities. What you know, what you don't, what habits you've built, what weaknesses you've been hiding, how resilient or fragile you are internally. But discomfort is not danger. Discomfort is data. Those who fear pressure avoid it. Those who understand pressure use it. The difference between the two determines the difference between average success and dangerous success. The types of pressure that shape high performers. Not all pressure is the same. Some destroys you. Some transforms you. Dangerously successful people separate pressure into 3 categories. 1. Productive pressure. This is pressure created on purpose to force growth. Examples: giving yourself deadlines, taking on challenges slightly above your skill level, making commitments that require discipline. This pressure builds competence and confidence. 2. Environmental pressure. This comes from your surroundings, competition, expectations, standards. Examples: being in a room with people better than you, working in fast-paced environments, having high standards set by mentors. This pressure elevates your performance automatically. 3. Destructive pressure. This is pressure without strategy, chaotic, overwhelming, and draining. Examples: saying yes to everything, lack of boundaries, poor planning, procrastination that leads to last-minute panic. This type must be eliminated, not endured. How the most dangerous winners use pressure strategically. While most people collapse under pressure, dangerously successful people do something different. They engineer pressure. They create controlled intensity in their life to maintain urgency, focus, discipline, pace, competitiveness. They use pressure as a tool, not a threat. Think of it like weight training. Too little weight builds nothing. Too much weight injures you. The right weight transforms you. Pressure works the same way. The 5 techniques for turning pressure into strength. Here are the exact methods high performers use to convert pressure into progress. Technique 1. Micro deadlines. Short, tight, intentional deadlines force speed and clarity. They stop perfectionism. They stop procrastination. They create momentum. When you shorten the time you give yourself, you create the pressure that forces competence. Technique 2. Controlled exposure. Expose yourself to slightly harder challenges every week. Just a little harder, not overwhelming. This keeps your growth curve alive. It trains your nervous system to stay calm under stress. Consistency plus slight difficulty equals explosive capability. Technique 3. Environmental audits. Your environment either builds pressure or removes it. Ask yourself regularly: does this space make me sharper? Do these people elevate or drain me? Does this routine challenge me or numb me? Change your environment, and you instantly change the type of pressure you experience. Technique 4. Emotional neutrality. Pressure doesn't break people. Their reaction to pressure does. Successful people practice emotional neutrality. No panic, no overthinking, no dramatizing, no catastrophizing. They treat pressure like a task, not a threat. This makes them nearly unshakable. Technique 5. Pressure reward loops. Every time you overcome pressure, reward yourself psychologically. This trains your brain to view pressure as manageable, conquerable, familiar, motivating. Eventually, your brain stops fearing pressure and begins craving challenges. This is the switch that makes you unstoppable. The moment pressure stops controlling you. When you master pressure, a transformation occurs. Stress becomes stimulation. Hard tasks feel energizing. Big goals stop feeling unrealistic. Chaos doesn't break your rhythm. Unexpected problems don't shake your confidence. Pressure becomes fuel. You gain a new advantage. Most people freeze when things get hard. You accelerate. That's the difference. You become shockingly more capable than you realized. Because pressure reveals capability. The more you master pressure, the sharper your mind becomes. The quicker you make decisions. The stronger your discipline grows. The more resilient your identity becomes. The more confident you feel internally. Pressure is growth in disguise. When you stop fearing it and start using it, you become someone who performs at levels that seem unbelievable to others. This is why dangerously successful people stand out. They thrive in situations others fear. And when you can thrive under pressure, you become someone people rely on, someone people respect, someone people follow. You become the person who remains standing while everyone else collapses. Chapter 9. The Discipline of Extreme Focus. Building a mind that cuts through noise. In a world drowning in notifications, distractions, opinions, entertainment, and noise, the rarest and most valuable skill is focus. Focus is not just the ability to pay attention. Focus is the ability to ignore everything that doesn't matter. Dangerously successful people are not always smarter. They're not always more talented, but they're almost always more focused. They possess a mental discipline that eliminates the unnecessary and amplifies the essential. Today, this chapter will show you how to build that level of extreme focus, the kind that multiplies results, accelerates progress, and creates an unstoppable internal momentum. The truth: most people don't fail because they're lazy. They fail because their attention is fragmented. They start one thing and stop halfway. They chase trends. They switch goals every month. They get pulled by impulses instead of guided by intention. It's not a lack of effort. It's a lack of clarity and consistency. You cannot build anything meaningful if your mind is scattered. Dangerously successful people understand this deeply, which is why they protect their focus as if their life depends on it, because their future truly does. Focus is a weapon, and most people don't know how to use it. Think of your attention like a laser. If the beam is wide and scattered, it barely burns paper. But if it's narrow and intense, it cuts through steel. Your mind works the same way. When you stop switching tasks, stop consuming every notification, stop responding to every distraction, stop reacting to everything around you, you begin to experience a level of mental sharpness that feels almost supernatural. This is the power of extreme focus. The three-layer system of laser-sharp focus. Dangerously successful people understand that focus is not a single action, it's a system. Layer 1. Environmental control. Your environment shapes your behavior more than your motivation does. You cannot focus in a chaotic environment. You cannot concentrate surrounded by temptations. You cannot create in a space built for consumption. The world wants your attention. You must design your environment so it cannot take it. This means a clean workspace, removing visual clutter, silence or controlled sound, putting your phone far away, turning off notifications, using your space for creation, not distraction. You don't need superhuman discipline. You need a space that doesn't attack your attention. Layer 2. Mental filtering. This is the art of identifying what deserves your attention. Ask yourself daily, does this deserve my mind? Does this get me closer to the life I want? If the answer is no, eliminate it. This includes unnecessary social media scrolling, conversations that drain you, commitments that don't elevate you, tasks that don't move the needle, thoughts that lead nowhere. Your attention is not infinite. Stop giving it away like it costs nothing. Layer 3. Deep work discipline. Deep work is the mental state where creativity, productivity, and clarity are at their peak. It requires long stretches of uninterrupted concentration, single tasking, intentional blocks of focus, complete engagement. This is where books get written, businesses get built, skills get mastered, and breakthroughs happen. Most people never experience deep work because they never disconnect long enough to enter it. Dangerously successful people schedule these focus blocks like appointments with their future self. Why extreme focus feels uncomfortable at first. When you first commit to deep focus, your brain resists it. You'll feel restless, bored, mentally itchy, tempted to check your phone, uncomfortable with silence. This is normal. Your brain is detoxing from distraction. Every time you push through this discomfort, you rewire your mind to tolerate and eventually crave focus. This is the mental transformation that separates amateurs from giants. The compounding power of focus. Here's the magical part. Focus multiplies. It compounds. It accelerates. One focused hour a day becomes 30 in a month. Next year, that becomes 360 focused hours. People spend years busy, but move nowhere. You could spend months focused and transform your entire life. Time doesn't make you successful. Focus time does. The identity shift, becoming a person who can focus. To become dangerously successful, you must build the identity of someone who finishes what they start, builds systems, not excuses, stays committed longer than others, is immune to noise, doesn't fold under distraction. Focus becomes more than a skill. It becomes a part of who you are. Your confidence grows. Your discipline grows. Your results explode. People wonder how you're doing it. The answer is simple. You stopped giving your attention to the things that steal your potential. When you master focus, you become unstoppable. Extreme focus gives you speed, clarity, depth, precision, consistency, inner calm, and an advantage 99% of people will never have. You move faster than others. You create more than others. You adapt quicker than others. You achieve what others are too distracted to even attempt. That's when people start calling you lucky. But it's not luck. It's focus. And in a world where everyone is distracted, focus is a superpower. Chapter 10, Becoming Unshakable. The final transformation into a dangerously successful person. Up to this point, you've built discipline, resilience, consistency, focus, confidence, self-control, and a mindset that rejects the ordinary. But there is one final transformation that separates people who succeed temporarily from those who become dangerously successful for life. This final chapter is about becoming unshakable. Not perfect, not fearless, not superhuman, unshakable. Someone who moves through life with a powerful internal force. A force that doesn't break when circumstances change, doesn't collapse under pressure, doesn't lose themselves in chaos, and doesn't quit when things get uncomfortable. This chapter is the transition from I am improving to this is who I am now. The final evolution, when discipline turns into identity. At first, every habit you built in this journey required effort. Waking up early felt hard. Working consistently felt draining. Saying no felt uncomfortable. Removing distractions felt unnatural. Focusing deeply felt unfamiliar. But something powerful happens with repetition. Behavior becomes identity. You go from forcing yourself to training yourself to becoming yourself. This is the moment where discipline stops being an action and becomes part of your personality. Not because you're trying, but because you've evolved. This is the stage where dangerously successful people are created, not through intensity, but through identity transformation. The 3 pillars of becoming unshakable. To live at this level consistently, you need 3 pillars that anchor your success no matter what life throws at you. Pillar 1, unshakable standards. Most people have goals. Dangerously successful people have standards. Goals can be lowered. Standards cannot. A goal says, I want to be disciplined. A standard says, I don't negotiate with myself. A goal says, I want to be successful. A standard says, I refuse to live below my potential. You stop hoping for results and start expecting them. You no longer accept average effort, excuses, inconsistency, laziness, distraction, environments that stunt growth, people who pull you down. Your standards become a shield that protects your progress. When you have non-negotiable standards, life can push you, stress you, test you, but it cannot break you. Pillar 2, emotional stability under pressure. Dangerously successful people don't break when emotions rise. They know how to stay calm in chaos, think clearly under stress, control reactions, separate feelings from decisions, stay grounded when life gets heavy. This doesn't mean they don't feel emotions. They simply don't let emotions run their life. They respond instead of reacting. They slow down when others panic. They observe when others explode. They strategize when others shut down. This emotional control becomes a massive advantage because it protects your focus, your energy, and your direction. When you master this skill, very little can shake you. Pillar 3, the long game mindset. This may be the most powerful piece of all. Dangerously successful people think in years, not days. They understand. Big results take time. Real mastery requires patience. Consistency beats intensity. Slow progress is still progress. Setbacks are part of the path. They don't quit because life isn't moving fast enough. They don't stop because they had a bad week. They don't abandon the journey for temporary comfort. Their mindset is, I'm building something that lasts, which gives them a level of quiet confidence most people never experience. When you shift from short-term rewards to long-term domination, you become unstoppable. The arrival, when your life begins to change without force. When these pillars lock into place, something amazing happens. You stop chasing success, and success starts moving toward you. Your habits become automatic. Your confidence becomes natural. Your discipline becomes effortless. Your focus becomes instinctive. Your decisions become powerful. Your presence becomes different. People notice. Opportunities appear. Momentum builds. Life becomes aligned. This is the point where your transformation becomes permanent. The final truth, you don't become dangerous by accident. You've earned every part of this journey. You challenge your limits. You destroyed old habits. You rejected mediocrity. You built discipline from scratch. You learned resilience through discomfort. You created focus in a distracted world. You stayed committed when it was easier to quit. That's what makes you dangerous. Not perfection, not luck, not talent. Your refusal to go back to who you used to be. This is the final and most powerful transformation. You become someone who can't be shaken because you've already survived what was meant to break you.